Hello, my name is Jose Hernandez, and when I was very small, I always had questions about certain topics that many of us, our parents, thought they were taboo. And to me, it was AIDS. I always wanted to know where it came from and how you got in contact with it. And majority of the time, my parents would always tell me, don't ask silly questions. My parents were very conservative, religious individuals. They were Catholic, so to them, anything that dealt with sex, they didn't want to speak about. I am actually an openly gay man, so as a child, it was very hard to express who I was. And it wasn't until later in life that I found out that a lot of homosexuals were triggered by this disease. And what I mean by trigger is that they were affected by it. How was I supposed to know about certain things like this if I couldn't even go to my parents for advice? All the school gave me was heterosexual advice, and I had no idea what it meant to be gay and have sex. So I wanted to know more before I became a statistic. Carlos Ulises de Sena, who writes an article of Surviving AIDS in an Uneven World, Latina Studies for a Brown Epidemic, explains some of these questions that I had as a child. He explains that it's not just certain individuals of certain groups, but it's an epidemic that affects everyone. But majority of the time, it affects majority of anyone who's of color. Douglas Crimp, an AIDS activist, says, "We don't need a cultural renaissance. We need cultural practices actively participating in the struggling against AIDS. We don't need to transcend the epidemic. We need to end it." With this, what he means is that we should not look who to blame, what race, what individual of what certain group. We need to just cut it off and make everyone understand that what they're doing or how they could get it. It's not, we should not find a blame to put on someone. We need to fix it. Paul Farmer, a medical anthropologist, says the point is not to blame their sickness on culture or individual will, but rather on the working of structural violence. What Farmer is implying is that it's the government's fault for dealing certain ways with different types of groups. He likes to compare the Haitians, Latinos, and African American because they're the groups who majority of the time struggle and the government is not there to help them. So he likes to say it's a culture thing instead of it's a problem that everyone has. So he wants to emphasize that this issue is just cultural. Carlos Ulises de Sena also says many scholars, policymakers, and average citizens of the United States imagine people with AIDS who are immigrants as carriers of the disease. So it doesn't matter where you come from. If you're an immigrant, you have the disease, even though you don't have it. And that's what Carlos Ulises de Sena is trying to imply. He also uses Arturo Latoya Mejia as an example of this. If it wasn't for Arturo and his friends bringing him to the United States, he would be dead. But because he had friends in the United States and there's more of an opportunity for him to fight the disease in the United States, he was able to survive. So how come other countries don't have the exact same thing as the United States? Yet, whenever you come here, you are seen as you have AIDS. What we need to come to understand is that we need to be educated on AIDS. We need to find a way to prevent people from actually obtaining this disease. We should not just find excuses or it's because of them. No, we need to find a solution and end this epidemic. We can't just go on and find someone to blame. As part of this world, I believe that every single one of us has a responsibility to help each other. And that's just not implying you because you're black, you should help out. Or you because you're white, you should help out. No, every color does not matter. What matters is the lives of millions of people who are diagnosed every day with this disease. We need to find a solution and we need to help each other. Thank you.